This video is brought to you by Poolenomics. Chlorine tablets offer a cheap and convenient way to sanitize a pool, but how you add them to your water is just as important as the type of chlorine you use. In this episode, we'll tackle the most common methods for adding chlorine tablets to a pool, the pros and cons of each, and which method is best overall. Let's start from the top. The first method is to use a floating chlorine dispenser. A floating dispenser is a small, plastic, inexpensive container that's filled with chlorine tablets and left to float on the surface of your water. These floaters have adjustable vents to restrict the amount of water passing through, allowing you to control how quickly your tablets dissolve and how much chlorine is released into the pool over time. Most floating dispensers will hold around 2 to 3 pounds worth of chlorine tablets at a time, which allows for 3 to 5 large tablets, assuming they're 3 inches in diameter. In general, given relatively normal conditions, you can expect your chlorine tablets to last around 5 to 7 days for each refill. It's not all good news, though. The problem with floaters is they often get stuck on steps, ladders, and other fixtures, causing a high concentration of chlorine to build up in one area of your pool. This can be prevented using a line of string or rope attached to the dispenser while anchoring to a fixed point, away from problematic fixtures. But this may also limit the distribution of chlorine, especially for larger pools. The next method is to use a chlorine feeder. A chlorine feeder, often called an automatic chlorinator, is a cylindrical chamber that connects to your pool's plumbing lines. Chlorine tablets are placed into the chamber. Then, as your pump circulates water throughout your pool, it passes through the feeder, dissolving and carrying some of the chlorine along with it. This system uses a control valve to limit how much water makes contact with your chlorine tablets, which gives you very precise control over how much or how little chlorine is introduced to the pool over time. A feeder will typically hold around 9 pounds worth of chlorine tablets, equating to roughly 18 large tablets, 3 inches. For very large pools, you can find high-capacity feeders that hold up to 40 pounds. Again, assuming relatively normal conditions, most chlorine feeders only need topping up every 7 to 10 days and will sometimes last up to 2 weeks. The only real downside to using an automatic chlorinator is the cost of installation, which can run around $100 to $150 on average. It's also worth noting there are 2 categories of chlorine feeders, inline and offline. Inline feeders are often installed during a pool build, while offline feeders are added on later. They both work well, so don't get too hung up on this detail. The final method is to use your skimmer basket. A skimmer sucks in and filters out large debris on the surface of your water, while also helping to circulate water through your pool filter. However, some pool owners leverage their skimmer basket to store tablets as water flows through the skimmer and passes over the chlorine tablets, causing them to slowly dissolve and release chlorine. While this is similar to using a chlorine feeder, your tablets are always exposed to water and forever breaking down. The only way to control the flow of chlorine is to adjust the number of tablets in the skimmer basket. As a result of this constant exposure, tablets dissolve faster than with other delivery methods and require topping up as often as every 3 to 5 days. What's more, whenever your pump is off, the tablets will continue to dissolve inside the skimmer. This can lead to high concentrations of chlorine, which becomes corrosive and potentially damaging to your pool. So, which method should you use? Weighing up the pros and cons, a chlorine feeder is objectively the best option in terms of chlorine distribution, dosage control, and overall capacity. Whether you have a small or large pool, in-ground or above ground, you really can't go wrong using an inline or offline feeder for your tablets, assuming you can justify the upfront cost to have it installed. If cost is a factor, though, a simple chlorine floater is the next best thing. While it may occasionally get stuck on steps or fixtures, this can be mitigated using a line of string or rope, and you can use multiple floaters depending on the size of your pool. As for using your skimmer basket, unless it's a very short-term solution, it's simply not worth the risk given the potential damage caused by high concentrations of chlorine. So there you have it, a comparison of the primary methods used to add chlorine tablets to a pool and the pros and cons of each. Check the description below for links to our full companion article, along with supporting articles for many of the points discussed in the video. We also have a free downloadable and printable checklist to help with your pool maintenance schedule. You can get it for free at poolonomics.com/checklist. That's all from us. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for all things pool care.